Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport and yet another episode of One Race Wonders. This is episode 18 and they're all neatly stacked in a playlist, link in the description below. Today we are looking at one of the very first One Race Wonders in Formula 1. Someone whose only race in the series was the first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix at Silverstone in 1950. So remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, sit back, relax, and let's begin.
Welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport.
Joseph Gibson Fry was born in Winterbourne in 1915. He was a distant relative of the Fry's chocolate family, and Joe and cousin David had a passion for motorsport which was not shared by the very high society family. And so, out of a secret garage, they used their family's money to put together a car for hill climbing. With the design work done by Dick Caesar, they modified a Fraser Nash chassis and, based on their knowledge of the German Auto Union cars, made it mid-engined. And due to its German inspiration, they named it the Fry Kaiserwagen. Fry Caesar wagon. Get it? Joe and David Fry did do something very important for motorsport. From their very secretive Kappa organisation, which included a racetrack on Joe Fry's Lulsgate private estate for secret testing of the 500cc hill climb cars, favoured by Kappa members. Secret because they didn't want to anger the Royal Automobile Club with their secret cult-like society. But after the war, when motorsport was still recovering, the 500cc motorbike engines became a favourite of upstart motor racing pioneers, and this convinced the RAC to adopt a World F500 Championship that would later become Formula 3, which still exists in 2021. So we can thank Joe Fry for that. Although the creation most often associated with the Fry cousins is the Fry Kaiserwagen, a hill-climbing monster of a car. Joe Fry set numerous records in his special car, which honestly looks unfinished, and despite constant issues with reliability, he still broke a host of lap records, won numerous events including the Brighton Speed Trials, and even beat Stirling Moss at Shelsley Walsh in 1948. He sadly never won the British Hill Climb Championship, often losing out to friend and rival Raymond Mays. Other than his successes in hill climbing, Joe Fry also raced in sports car racing in his Bugatti Type 51 and had a small amount of national level success, winning races in the Bugatti's Owners Club series, as well as competing in the emerging Formula 500 and Formula 3 race series that were popping up. Formula 500 had become a very popular series and was a support race for the British Grand Prix in 1948 and 1949. Joe Fry competed in a modified Fry Kaiserwagen, now known as a Lotus chassis designed by Dick Caesar and fitted with a cross engine. The car wasn't as competitive as the much nimbler Cooper cars, driven by John Cooper himself as well as Stirling Moss and Eric Brandon. By 1950 the series was so popular that the FIA gave it international status and renamed it Formula 3. Joe Fry ditched the Lotus and instead took on a car from new manufacturer Arengo and won his first race in the series at Lulsgate. Joe Fry was so infatuated with his new machine he called it his pet, which is a little weird, but the man was clearly passionate for cars. Unfortunately, Joe Fry would only have a few races in his new Formula 3 car. It was around this time that Joe Fry decided to enter the British Grand Prix of 1950, which was to be the first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix. Joe Fry self-entered a Maserati 4CL and qualified 20th of 21, some 16 seconds behind pole sitter Nino Farina. He survived the first 45 laps of the race before heading to the pits and swapping out the driver's seat, letting Brian Shaw Taylor take the final 19 laps. The pair finished the race 10th, 6 laps off the race lead and only ahead of one finishing car, the Talbot of Johnny Clays. It was just a month later that Joe Fry was injured in a hill climbing accident at Shelsley Walsh, apparently caused by Fry pushing too hard. He was lucky to walk away with nothing more than a badly cut hand. It was at the next round at Blandford that Fry's luck would run out. Once again pushing too hard in pursuit of victory, Joe Fry would flip his car repeatedly and would later succumb to his injuries. He was the first dead Formula 1 driver being dead before the first ever championship had even finished. This was also the end of the Frey Kaiserwagen. It was destroyed in the accident and never rebuilt. Replicas have been made and raced since then, but the original is no more. As I mentioned, the most important part of Joe Fry's legacy is the formation and success of Formula 3 as a Formula 1 feeder series. But his exploits in the Frey Kaiserwagen are legendary, and a book was written by Hugh Dunsterville and his son. Hugh was one of the original engineers who worked on the car, alongside Dick Caesar, and it looks like a really cool book. You can buy it on Amazon if you have a spare £25 lying around. Joe Fry's cousin David would continue to enter cars in motorsport, manufacturing his own Formula 2 car, which was raced by Michael Parks, to limited success between 1958 and 1959. They tried to qualify for the 1959 British Grand Prix, but sadly failed, and the car was retired after a second place finish for Parks on Boxing Day in 1959. So that was another episode of One Race Wonders. Interestingly, of the drivers involved in the first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix, 2 would end up as One Race Wonders: Joe Fry and Leslie Johnson. So you can expect a future episode devoted to the latter. For now, remember to check out the One Race Wonder playlist, a whole 18 episodes ranging from Nello Pagani to Marcus Winkelhock. Also, please subscribe. I'm hoping to hit 250 by the time the Formula 1 starts in a few weeks' time. So if you could, that would be great. Like, share and comment. Thank you for watching, and have a good one.